Thank you, Mr. Balmer.
Hi, I'm Eric Balmer. I'm one of the humanities teachers here. And I've been asked to sort of briefly address how the humanities underwrites or promotes human flourishing. As I was sitting over there, I thought of this analogy. You may have had an experience when you were younger of being at the beach or older, but this is usually a young phenomenon. You're in the water, you're playing in the waves, and a wave comes and it lifts you up, and then you're ready to have your feet settle on the ground again, and you can't find the ground. And you go into like a quick panic, and your feet kick like that, and then lo and behold, the waves go down, and you find your footing. That is sort of how I see what we do at Pacifica. Find some kind of footing, some sort of scaffolding, something to push off from in life. And the reason that that's important is, in a previous job, I was teaching at the collegiate level for about 8 years, and I noticed that the students lacked scaffolding. They lacked something to push off from. So if I asked them a very simple question, like, do you want to be good? They would say yes. But then if I asked further questions, well, why do you want to be good? What does it mean to be good? They were on their heels, and they had a hard time figuring out how to sort of lean into that question and begin to answer it. So at Pacifica, what we're attempting to do in the humanities department is to, and the other departments as well, is sort of give students this scaffolding. The thing about it at this point in history where we're at is what we have isn't automatic. A lot of people think that what we have is the default mode of human existence, and it's not. It took a long time to get where we're at. So things like natural rights and property rights and due process and separation of powers, or even deeper questions like what does it mean to be a human being? Is there right and wrong? How do you know it? Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. What is justice? These are questions that we talk about. These are questions that we explore. And so when your student comes to this school, and if we're doing our job and we're leaning into our passions, your students are going to go into college and they're going to have this scaffolding. They're going to have this scaffolding and these great goods, these great societal and human goods and concepts that we have gotten from the Judeo-Christian story. And they're going to understand that, and it's going to give them something to push off from. So that's what we attempt to do for your students. That's our passion. That's what we believe in, and that's what Pacific is about. Now I'm going to pass the mic to Anthony Rinaldi, a science teacher.
I teach a number of science classes here, as well as one of the math courses right now. The first thing Balmer did when he came up here was, he said he thought of the analogy, but he told a story, right? We all love stories, right? We love episodes. Right now for me, it's The Mandalorian Season 2, right? And Disney's mean, and they're only putting out one episode a week. And so now I'm left with being stuck after that episode wondering, what happens next, right? Stories bring us in and pull us into being curious, into finding out more, right? That's why we love them. That's why we go to the movies. It's why we read fiction, right? It's why we read nonfiction about things we don't know about yet. And we try to cultivate that here in Pacifica with the idea that curiosity is what drives conversation for us. That looks like a lot of different things in a lot of different classes, but at the core of what it is trying to take the innate curiosity and desire to know more that we have and translate that into a classroom. And that doesn't always happen, and it definitely doesn't happen when we just sit and lecture all the time. That doesn't happen if I just have to listen to someone day in and day out without talking. Or without engaging in some way. And I get to do that a couple different ways in my science classes. I think my engineering class is my favorite side of this. We've got, over here, we've got a tower that students built. We've got camera being dropped from a drone, but all of that started with asking questions. So the first thing at the beginning of every unit we'll do is give them a design challenge. And the first step in those design challenges is usually, here's a pad of sticky notes, start putting down ideas. As many ideas as you can get. I encourage them to burn through as many sticky notes as they possibly can until their tables are just these flurries of multiple colors. And so right now they're doing a redesign of a flashlight. And so those might look like, what's the power source, what's the color, what's the shape, right? Anything you can think of, just put it on. Don't think about the idea twice. If it comes to your mind, put it down, go, right? Get your ideas out. That first 5 minutes is the last time students will ever be working alone on anything in that class, though. Because as soon as that ends, they start taking those ideas and they organize them into what we call mind maps. And we get this big, colorful visual of where everyone's ideas sit together. After that, they start sketching, they compare each other's ideas, they modify them, they come back and forth, right? They try to see, okay, how did these ideas come to this picture? Oh, hey, you had this idea, but I stole it and I did this very different thing with it, right? But it comes from not just taking our own ideas and our curiosity, but the curiosity of those around us, right? In engineering, we make a big deal of, it's never just you and your ideas alone. And more broadly, that's not how it is in any case, right? In a family, it's never one person's ideas and nothing else. In a marriage, it's never that. In an English class, it's never that. In a workspace, it's never just you. So we get this collaboration of ideas and perspectives that ultimately come out to something that none of them imagined at the beginning and becomes something tangible and buildable and really fun. And here's the thing, at the end of the day, they still learn engineering practices. They still learn physics. They still learn how to solve a linear equation. But they're doing it in a way that makes them more engaged and naturally curious about the process by having them start with questions. A lot of those questions outside of the math classroom, math or science, happen in conversations that are set in circles in these rolling chairs that you're all in. And Logan, a junior, is going to come up and talk to you guys about why we do that and why that's important.
Thank you, Mr. Rinaldi. My name is Logan Bray, and I am the Junior Admissions Prefect underneath Sarah Parsons here at Pacifica. At Pacifica, we believe that learning blooms in connected and dynamic spaces, hence discussions. This unique approach is emphasized in literature and history, but is not limited to those subjects. The Socratic method is integrated within the math and science departments as well, teaching us how to be versatile in our approaches to learning. The environment of discussions has taught me not only how to thoughtfully articulate ideas regarding the works of Plato or Hamlet, but also how to skillfully disagree with someone in a respectful and formal manner. This curriculum prepares us for the future, an intentional goal at Pacifica. And intentionality occurs throughout the very materials we discuss, down to the chairs that we sit in, which you are actually sitting in right now. So when entering into Pacifica, discussions can be extremely intimidating. Whether you contain the understandable nerves or embody complete confidence, both of us belong. Our presence matters. The support system provided here on campus brings forth assurance and ease to even the most timid of students. You become confident speaking here because you know that you're being heard. In contrast, however, if you're anything like me and enjoy talking and often filling empty space with somewhat mindless chatter, discussions pushes you to think critically and really analyze the thoughts and ideas of other people. When I started here as a freshman, I was consumed by only my ideas and thoughts. And being more comfortable in the Socratic environment, I had to learn to set aside my pride and actually listen. Once I began to truly listen to my fellow classmates, I realized that discussions are actually not all about talking. The act of listening and learning from my fellow peers drastically changed my outlook on the books and topics we would discuss in life, and honestly how I interacted with people. I'm becoming a more vulnerable, hospitable, and compassionate person thanks to discussions here. This being said, before we graduate, we will have spent 50,000 minutes in discussion. Now, 50,000 minutes probably seems very overwhelming, and honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, it's a lot of time. Like 50,000, it's a lot, it's a huge number. But with the amount of discussions we actually have in our classes, this number is not difficult to hit. It's basically down to the chairs we sit in. These chairs are aesthetically pleasing, so nice, like very comfortable. I'm sure you all think that they're comfortable. If you do, raise a hand. Yeah, that's what I thought, me too. They are very practical for discussions and group activities at Pacifica. They can move, they can spin, they have wheels on the bottom, like you can scoot in them, you can push them, they're quite fun. But for discussions, they're especially adaptive because they move in the formation of a circle, which is how we actually discuss in class. So up on the slide is a map of what the first discussion looked like here at Pacifica, a freshman class. And I'm pretty sure you all can tell who the teacher is, and it's HB, Reverend Butler, who is one of the fantastic English teachers here at Pacifica. But as you can see from the map, a lot of the students are mainly talking directly to him, and some of them aren't even talking at all. Now, when we actually take out the people who don't talk in discussion, that's what a lot of normal high school classrooms look like, and that's not what Pacifica wants. Now, this is a map 3 weeks later of the exact same class. And as you can see, all of the students spoke at least once, and they're not only talking with Reverend Butler, but they're conversing with each other, which is the main goal of discussions. This probably was not the perfect discussion. They probably didn't come to a unanimous answer, but it's progression, and that's what we're looking for. We're looking for progress and growth, and this growth is beautiful. If this is the growth that we see in 3 weeks of discussion here at Pacifica, imagine what growth looks like in 4 years. Discussions have changed my life, and I cannot wait to be in discussion with every single one of you one day. Now, Miss Batstone, one of the most fantastic English teachers here, will speak about formative relationships. Thank you.